friends. I hope you're having a fabulous start to your day. Today I'm going to be doing a little bit of fall prep, which is kind of ironic because it is at least 100 degrees outside, which in New England, that's hot, and I am not built for it. So we're gonna get through the day and be as comfortable as we can while planning for my favorite season ever, which is super cozy and warm, and I just love everything about fall. A few more business things to get to this morning. I'm going to do like post office, UPS, that kind of boring stuff, bank. And then I have to go to the studio and pack up some custom baby shower gifts. So I'll take you along with me for that. But I do want the majority of this video to just sort of be a chit chat with you guys about how I use Shopify and the reports in Shopify to gather my information and how important that information is when you're planning for a new season. I see a lot of you guys are new sometimes, starting out your business, and so I will try to give you some of my experience as far as when to launch a fall launch or holiday launch even, and then again, all of the information I pull to try and make those decisions. If you're new here, my name's Caitlin. I run a handmade soap and cosmetics business called Fiorella Soapery, but I do have a background in corporate retail. For 12 years, I worked for, definitely you know this company, but I'm not going to say it, and my experience there has taught me so much about running my own business, and I'm super grateful for it. Now I get to run my business full time, which is beyond amazing. So I am going to do my best to share with you all of that information that I collected over those last 12 years and all of my experience running my own business for 4 years to help you kind of get your wheels turning, at least on how maybe you should plan your business for the upcoming holiday season. So we've got a lot to get to today. We're gonna do some of our little errands this morning and then spend the afternoon together and just have a nice day of planning for the cozy fall season. I hope you are excited to spend the day with me. I can't wait to take you along. Okay, so I did the gift sets. Those are all set, but I wanted to show you around the studio a little bit because I've been working like crazy to get working on fall. So I know I'm gonna walk you guys through planning for fall, but I already knew I had bath bomb boxes left over from last year. So I actually went ahead and made a lot of bath bombs this week. Let me show you. I have been a busy bee. So I made all of these yesterday. These two. I have to paint them, but I'm gonna give them a little bit of time because it's actually very high in the humidity here. I have my dehumidifier running. I turned it off just so I could chat with you guys, but it's not the best. So I'm not gonna have them wrapped until another day, so tomorrow. But I just wanted to show you guys what I've done. My sister-in-law boxed up all of these. I love my fall packaging colors. Like this one just screams fall to me, and so does this one. I just love everything about my fall packaging. So we've got bath bombs galore, which means I pretty much have gotten rid of quite a bit of bath bomb boxes. And if you are new to my channel, so the bath bombs were amazing for me last year. I was averaging about 500 bath bombs a week selling them on Fair last year. And I'm actually gonna film a whole video on Fair this afternoon, so stay tuned for that one. But I projected for this year similar numbers, and bath bombs have just dropped off. So I have custom packaging that I design and pay a lot of money for, and I had a lot left over from last fall. So instead of eating the cost, I'm making them and using up the materials that I have, and then I'm probably going to phase bath bombs out. So I know I keep saying that, but if you're watching this and you're like, Caitlin, you have told us now for months that bath bombs suck, why would you keep making them? The reason is I have packaging, and my boxes are expensive, and it's just not worth it for me to not use them. So like I've probably invested about $4,000 in bath bomb boxes. So I'm gonna use that money up. So I just figured I'd show you guys that little update. My other shelves are super bare. I say super bare. Now that I'm looking at this, it's not that bad, but for a whipped soaps in the middle here, I pretty much have nothing. It's the end of July, so I have a few of my summer scents left, but I'm really selling them down. So like I've got 3 Beach Babes left, 1 Summer Sangria, a few Seasides and whatnot. But yeah, it's about time to restock these shelves with fall. But I am sweating, so I'm gonna wrap things up here and go home and actually plan fall. I make a green smoothie almost daily, and I just discovered these. I got these ones from Trader Joe's. I'm not sure if there are other places, but I love ginger in my smoothie, but I absolutely hate peeling it and everything. So this comes in a little cube thing that it's a lifesaver, and it's delicious. So if you're a smoothie fan, these are awesome. They actually have a garlic one too, obviously not for smoothies, but great for pasta sauces, and it is a lifesaver. Before we get started on the actual reports that I'm gonna pull for my fall planning, I just wanted to put a little plug in there. If you're trying to figure out what platform to use, Shopify, Wix, Square, I love my Shopify. The amount of reports you can actually pull it's actually almost too much, honestly. You can drill down into so much detail, which is a blessing and a curse. Not every website host has that kind of reporting. So just note as you're shopping around of which platforms to use. There are 1.5 million reports you can pull, but I try to keep it pretty concise because I am a small business owner and I don't have time to be pulling every little detail of my business. So I'm gonna walk you through my strategy when I sit down to initially plan a season. And for right now, I'm planning fall, which is going to be September through October. I launched my fall line last year in the middle of September, which was way later than I wanted to. I really wanted to launch it the last week of August, which is my plan this year. But for the purpose of trying to get last year's fall information, I'm going to use September and October. The first thing that I pull is my total sales. I pull how many units and dollars I sold in that time period to get an understanding of what I'm working with. And then planning the next year, I always have a bunch of different factors go into this, but for this year, I'm gonna plan it up 10%. And my thought process behind that is gas prices are high, inflation's high, prices on everything are increasing, consumers are feeling it, and we're headed into a possible recession. Whether we are or not headed into a recession, consumers hear that. And so I think a lot of people are just being very cautious as to their extra spending. And although I sell soap and it's an item that we all need, I do sell, you know, not the basic soap. So I don't want to go and place these huge plans and produce a ton of stuff and then be stuck with a lot of inventory. So I'm going to plan up 10%, which I think is conservative. And that's going to help me then drill down further into what do I do with that plus 10% as far as products. So the next report I pull is called a retail sales by product type. I'm going to use the same criteria September through October. And this report's great because it's going to break down that total number into each type. So for me, it's going to be whipped soaps, sugar scrubs, body butters, body oils, all that stuff. And then I can sort and see how many of each of those categories I actually sold, and if there are ones that totally outperformed others, and maybe there were some that I don't even need to do this year. So that report's great to sort of set your next level. And then the third report that I love to pull is called Retail Sales by Product Variant SKU. That's a mouthful. That report's great because then it takes those types and it drills down into the fragrances. So for me, I can see what my best-selling scent was in whipped soaps, and that might be different from lip balms and bar soaps and so on and so forth. So I will pull that report for each type so I can then see what my best-selling scent was. And I'm gonna assume it was Hey Pumpkin. Hey Pumpkin is my quintessential fall fragrance and my customers love it. I've had it for 3 years now, and I'm pretty sure it's my best-selling scent. So I just pulled all those reports, and then what I do with that information, because although the reports are great on Shopify, it is nice to have all that information in one place. I am the queen of Excel. I love a good Excel spreadsheet, so I take all the information from those reports and I put them into an Excel spreadsheet to help me plan for this next year. When it comes to planning initially what to produce for that first launch, it can be a little overwhelming and hard to figure out what you actually should produce. The biggest learning I had from being a retail buyer is nothing is the same. You can start with 20 of everything, okay? Let's say you have 6 scents and you make 20 of each. One is bound to sell faster than the other. One's bound to be your best seller and one's bound to be your worst seller. It's just the nature of it. So when I do my initial launch, I don't just produce what I sold last year. There are so many factors that change, and I want to make sure I stay as flexible as possible. So for instance, if I sold 100 Hey Pumpkin whipped soaps, I'm probably going to make 50 to start. There could have been a very big wholesale order last year, and I could pull that. I could go down that rabbit hole, but I don't really have the time for that right now. So I am going to start with 50. I feel pretty good that I'm gonna sell through those 50, no problem. If you're thinking, okay, when should I launch my fall? When's the perfect day to launch my fall line? I don't know, and nobody can really tell you that. I think there is a time that's too late. I was definitely too late last year. I launched the second week of September, and that was great for me personally as a direct-to-consumer retailer. However, for retailers, that was bad, and I actually had a very slow season with my wholesale accounts, specifically on Fair, because I just simply launched too late. A retailer is looking at the fall season, and most often they're setting up in August at some point to open into that fall season. Then holiday is set pretty much the end of October, and the stores may not be set, but they want those goods. A retailer wants to be able to flip that floor so September 1st they've got all of their fall stuff, because they only have 8 weeks pretty much to sell that up until November 1st when it flips to Christmas. So again, this is my experience. This is how I run my business. You may have different people that operate differently, but overall, in timing of when you do your launches, if you sell wholesale specifically, make sure you give your retailers enough time. They're not gonna place an order September 30th of something like pumpkin unless they're super confident they can sell it by Halloween. They may sell it through Thanksgiving. I'm being a little dramatic, but you're not gonna have a huge bump in volume in October of fall stuff. You probably will if you're doing just direct to consumer though. So this is where it gets really tricky. It's harder to sell that item. It doesn't mean you won't sell that item, it's just harder to sell it. So I hope that kind of makes sense. And that's just, again, my experience. I am planning my fall line to launch the last week of August, and I'm going to plan all of my holiday to launch November 1st. I should do it in October, but I personally I love fall so much, and I just can't do Christmas before Halloween. I just can't do it. But on Fair, I'm actually gonna load all of my products so people can pre-order Christmas. So although I won't be able to ship necessarily in October for my wholesale accounts, they can place their orders and I will have a November 1st ship date, and that should be pretty good for most retailers. I'm wearing a different shirt because I just filmed a video all on Fair. I am so exhausted. But I am going to edit that one soon so that you guys can get some of your questions answered. There were a ton of questions, and I didn't realize that the video I posted last year on Fair is like one of my best videos ever. So yeah, I answered a bunch of questions. I feel like all they've done today is talk to the camera. So we are going to go drop Lucy off. We're actually headed away for the weekend. We're going to Maine, which I'm so excited about. Also wanted to share with you guys, I absolutely love supporting other small businesses. And when I initially started this channel, I wanted it to be like all about other small businesses, but I found that to be very difficult going into COVID. I started this channel back in the fall of 2019. So right when I was getting into it, COVID happened. So I didn't really go in that direction, but I love sharing new businesses that I find, and I will link this one down below. It says more Veuve Please, which is Veuve Clicquot, which is my all-time favorite celebratory drink. When I studied abroad in France, I got my minor in French, and part of our curriculum was to like go on the weekends to the Champagne region and learn everything we can about the chateaus and champagne. And so my first sip of champagne ever was Veuve Clicquot, which is very bougie, but it definitely has a special place in my heart for many reasons, because I learned how to open a bottle of champagne. It was my first sip of champagne, and so it's sort of been my celebratory drink for my whole life. So when I saw this bracelet, more Veuve Please, I just had to have it. And then I ended up making these two bracelets last weekend. I think I showed you guys that I went to Michael's, finally found some of the stretchy cord, and I made some of these to go with it. But if you have any other small businesses that you absolutely love or that makes really cool stuff, I'm always on the lookout, especially as we head into the holidays, for just really unique things. I'm gonna change my clothes yet again into something even cooler, and then we're gonna go drop her off.